So we have 51 places that hold elections, and each of those governs in their state their own election process. So what we do in Iowa is not similar to what they do in Minnesota, and it's not similar to what they do in Oregon, and it's not similar to what they do in New York. We all have our own laws that have been enacted at the state that dictate how we do things. In Iowa, I'm reasonably assured that the process is not flawed, and that it's good to go, and that it always has been, and that we keep making improvements on it to make it even better, and that there won't be this massive fraud. Well, in Iowa, you have to specifically request it, and you have to specifically request it for every election in order for us to mail you that particular ballot. So the next time an election comes up, just because you have received one this time, we don't mail you one next time. You have to again request it. And that keeps the system fresh every time, so that we know who wants a ballot and who doesn't necessarily want a ballot mailed to them, unlike the states that just mail them to everyone. Absentee ballot request forms from organizations that want to encourage the vote, from the political parties themselves, from AARP, from the Voter Information Center. There are lots of groups that have been sending them out, and the groups and the parties that are sending them out don't have the capability of knowing when they're sending them that you've already returned one to us. So when we get the phone calls and the people say, "You've already sent me 5 of these, I don't need any more," it's like, it's not us sending them, we're just receiving them from you. And if you send me all 5, that's okay. You're still only going to get 1 ballot, because we're only allowed to send 1 ballot, and you have that barcode on there that only allows 1 ballot. Quite honestly, Hardin County can't afford to do that. It would cost well over $6,000 just to send out an absentee ballot request to everyone, not even considering whether or not it had return postage paid. If they want to vote by absentee, the process is safe in Iowa. I truly believe that, and that we do our absolute best to ensure that their vote comes back and is accurate so that it can be counted. We have a very sophisticated tracking system for each of them, and so if you were to ask for a ballot, not only do you have a ballot request number assigned to you, but there's a barcode on a sticker that is assigned to that ballot return envelope, not the ballot itself, as well as the mailing envelope that goes out. So when it comes back in, the first thing we do is check it into our system with that barcoded numbering system, and that immediately logs it in as having been returned. That prevents people from returning it and then going to the poll and saying, "Hey, I never voted by absentee, I want to vote at the poll." It pops up in the system as having already been returned, it's already here, it's already on file, therefore they cannot vote in person and have that vote counted as well. The other thing that it allows us to do is, if you get yours and you messed it up and you need another, we cancel that original one in the system. We tell you that you need to mark on it spoiled, but we also assign it a new number, a new tracking code that goes out. If your old one comes back, even if it's voted, it cannot be counted because we've already canceled it. So when we get a stack like this in the mail, the first thing that we're doing is scanning the barcodes, and if one of those oddball ones pops up as having already been returned or already canceled or reported as lost in the mail, it can't go in for counting. It goes in the other pile that has been canceled, voided, reissued, those types of things. Everything is tracked 100%. So let's say I sent you one, you voted it, you postmarked it a week before the election, and you went online and you saw that your ballot had not been received by us. Or let's say maybe you didn't sign your affidavit on the outside of the envelope, and we called you and said, you didn't sign it, you don't have the opportunity to come in and fix it. So there's a way that you can still make your ballot count, not the one you've returned to us, but you can go in person and vote. And what that does is there's a system in our laptop computers that checks people in that has flagged that you voted by absentee. It stops the people who are checking you in and requires them to call our office. And what that phone call does is we are verifying whether or not we've received a live voted ballot back from you. So if it truly was lost in the mail, we would see that we have not received it back from you. We would immediately cancel it as lost in the mail, so it cannot be voted or returned. And then you're allowed to vote in person a regular ballot, just like the people, before and after you in line. If by chance you mailed it back, we got it, it's logged in, you swear up and down you didn't vote it, somebody else must have intercepted your mail and returned it, you can still vote in person at the polling place, but it's going to be a provisional ballot. And what that does is it bops it over into another type of handling situation where the absentee and special voters precinct board would handle those specific ballots, and they take each one on a case-by-case basis based on the evidence presented as to whether or not they can count that. In that type of situation, I've not encountered that where someone said, I didn't vote that, I didn't mail that back in. But if they were to adhere to the rule of the law exactly as it says, if you've returned a voted ballot, you cannot vote at the polls. Therefore, the provisional ballot would not be counted, but the original absentee ballot would. Again, there may be some evidence presented that you didn't receive it, you didn't vote it. There may be some signature comparison on the affidavit envelope that is shown to the absentee board that would further your case. And if they chose to believe that that's exactly what happened, someone intercepted it and voted it for you, they would throw out that absentee ballot and they would count your provisional ballot that you voted, but they would not count both together.